Folks, let me get your attention to the stage. We have coming up in just a minute our new Springfield Lane County Commissioner, Joe Berney. He was elected in 2018, and he was a part of many of us put forth so much effort to get the Lane County Commission flipped. And yeah, massive, massive success. And really, Joe's been the shining light here. So let's hear what he's got to say. You want to hold it?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, thank you so much. This is honestly such an honor to be able to talk to this group specifically. I'm wearing one of many shirts my wife Maddie made for the 2016 Bernie Sanders for President campaign. I am wearing one of the buttons that Maddie made for that campaign. His Bernie Sanders 2016 presidential campaign touched the hearts, the minds, and the hopes of millions upon millions of us deeply. And honestly, it's the reason I even considered running for Lane County Commissioner last year. I'm just going to do that. Well, I'm good at this stuff. Yeah. Thanks, James. James is helping the old man. Thank you. He could have won. I think he should have won. If he had, this would be a fundamentally different world that we live in. So let's win it in 2020 and create that fundamentally different world. Personal story. During Bernie Sanders' last presidential campaign, I lived here but worked in Los Angeles. My clean energy retrofit business was demonstrating how you take basically just the opposite, as fate would have it, of what the current Lane County Commissioner from Springfield stood for. We closed over $130 million of clean energy, commercial, and industrial retrofits, tangibly helping move one of the largest and most visible energy markets in the country from dirty to clean energy. All the while, here's where I'm going to do this. Hey, James, can I? All the while paying living wages to the people that worked on those projects. All the while providing everyone that worked on those projects with full family health benefits. All the while recruiting women, minorities, veterans, and others who had been historically excluded for those jobs. And helping communities, not huge corporations, own the clean energy they produced. This is fun. When the 2000, and this is all a true story, and it's why it's so cool to be here now. When the 2016 California primary began, my company was working on what is now the largest net zero plus facility in the United States. It produces more clean energy than it uses. It is a campus with 144,000 square feet of buildings, and is the training center for all union electricians in the Los Angeles basin. Hillary Clinton, thanks a lot, James. Hillary Clinton launched her California primary campaign there, which was very cool. But at the same time, I was trying to reach decision makers of Bernie Sanders' campaign to offer the venue to him, promising and able to bring a ton of labor, business, and Hollywood support. But I did not know how and could not get through to even our own Bernie Sanders' inner campaign circle. I wanted to give them real-world examples and credibility to some of their platform points. So, Bernie Sanders, wherever you are, if you are listening, please take it up on me with me this time. We should work for, but not wait for Berney to be elected. Nor should we wait for a federal Green New Deal. We should work here and now for good jobs locally, clean energy locally, aggressive and verifiable climate action plans locally, commitments with teeth to diversity locally, for local small business interests, not global corporate interests, and for equal justice for all locally. Because the more we and communities across this nation do now, the more we engage citizens locally, the more likely we will, in fact, elect Bernie Sanders president. We live in a time where local engagement can be more powerful, can go viral more quickly, and change can happen faster than ever before, and it needs to. Thank you very much, you guys. My local campaign stressed flipping Springfield's county commissioner from a Trump Republican to a Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren Democrat. It didn't seem very likely, if you guys recall, only a year ago, but it was also to start the process of flipping the county, which has occurred, and contribute in a small way, our own humble way, to flipping the House of Representatives in 2018. And look what happened. The blue wave happened. So here and now, let us commit to a blue tsunami, which will flip the President of the United States and the United States Senate in 2020. It will be awesome. And I'm not young enough to get there, but it will be awesome to have a federal government that is strategically incenting a clean energy economy. Not accelerating earth-depleting, earth-destroying extraction and increasing our use of dirty energy. It will be awesome to have a federal government respecting all of us, not waging war against civility or waging war against the poor and downtrodden or further concentrating wealth and power. You know, Trump is so mean-spirited and so wrong in every way that we have to ask ourselves why. I mean, why did so many working-class voters choose a selfish, thin-skinned, lying, narcissistic, boastful, corrupt on many levels, megalomaniac for president? I'm going to give you my take, no, which agrees with you. My take is, I'm sorry? My take is this. It's not like fears of blacks and immigrants is a new phenomenon in American life. Sadly, it's been with us in one form or another since the founding of this republic. But I think what has changed is the economy. And hear me out, if you would. Despite increases in productivity and profits, stagnant wages and reduced benefits and less security are beating us down as a people. Stagnant wages since the 1980s, rising health care costs, insane amounts of student debt, unaffordable housing, and jobs that can't pay the bills push us all toward the bottom. Disparity between wealth is now so great in this country that we look like a third world nation with two economic classes and very little opportunity for upward mobility. Upward mobility. The notion, I would like to remind us, that whoever we are, wherever we come from, we have the right and the freedom and opportunity to be whoever we want to be, pursue whatever our dreams are, and to make it in America. This has been and should be what the American dream is all about. But almost 80% of everyone working these days lives paycheck to paycheck. And those paychecks are less secure than they've ever been. Meanwhile, as you all know, all the economy's gains have gone to the richest 1%. And more has gone to the richest 1/10 of 1%. And even more has gone to the wealthiest 1/100th of 1% in this country. Wealthy individuals, am I talking too much? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Wealthy individuals and big corporations invest some of those gains into political influence. Walk with me now. They do it in such that big money and its twin brother dark money now unabashedly call the shots in Washington. And by the way, they do it too much in Oregon too. Subsidies, tax breaks, tax loopholes, bailouts, incenting the wrong things. The 2008, 10 years ago, meltdown of Wall Street cost millions of us our jobs, our homes, our businesses, and our savings accounts. And not one single executive from Wall Street went to jail. Wall Street got bailed out. The system, in my opinion, is rigged. In 2016, huge numbers of people voted for the two anti-establishment candidates, Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, who both promised to shake things up in Washington. But Trump's racism and xenophobia focused this accumulating angst and rage in America on scapegoats that had nothing at all to do with the cause. Trump's behavior was and is right out of the dictator's how-to handbook. So in short, here's my theory, and I hope you agree. Trump is the consequence, not the cause, of years of stagnant wages and a crumbling safety net and big money's corruption of our democracy and a legacy of racism. Bernie Sanders, with our help, will do just the opposite. He will refocus all that energy, and it's greater now than it was a few years ago, on things like guaranteed federal full employment, health care for all, industry-wide collective bargaining, a clean energy fueled economy. And his and our campaign will pay for solutions from things like a carbon tax, which that ad was all about, progressive tax on wealth, significant reduction of defense spending, and a tax on Wall Street trading. And to do those things, we not only need to elect Bernie in 2020, we need to structurally get big money out of politics in 2020. So I'm not a anything but Trumper, but ultimately, if it got down to it, I am. We have a good bench of candidates running in their ways to replace darkness with light, to replace callousness with compassion, ignorance with wisdom. Speaking for myself, my absolute number one, highest integrity, top choice for President of the United States is Bernie Sanders. Bernie's campaign of heartfelt, thought through, genuine substance, and democratic change making will ignite this country's frustration with the lies, the cover-ups, the corruption, and redirect it toward hope for a livable world. And you guys are really kind, so if I may, 2 final thoughts. One thought that I'd like you to consider. The enemies of democracy include confusion, illusion, delusion, and distraction. I'll repeat it. Confusion, illusion, delusion, and distraction. We must stay focused and keep our eyes on the prize. Second, our birthright as citizens of democracy is to be agents of change. By definition, that's what we can do and be. We have it in our power, and if we don't mobilize it now, God help us. We have it in our power to create and grow movements. Movements are very different than just taking a position on an issue and making a lot of noise. That's easy. Movements require real education. Not just preparing students to fit into the system, but teaching them how to change it. Movements require analysis, reflection, talking to those that disagree with you, being civil and persuasive, doing the work, backing up our positions with logic and evidence, developing ever larger coalitions based on what we have in common, not what divides us. That has to be our movement this time, and not sacrificing the possible for the perfect. I would argue the way we make the perfect possible is by taking steps in the right direction. This requires vision. It requires discerning fact from fiction. And as my wife hates hearing me say from one of my mentors, if you don't know where you're going, anyone can lead you there. I'm delighted to report that now is the time in our nation's history to quit talking, to put people first, to put the planet first, to guide full employment and robust economic development by understanding what a good job is and understanding the critical role that a different distribution of wealth, power, opportunities, and access has to play. We must create and sustain a movement locally. We have to, you guys. Each of us have to bring 10 to 20 people into this room in another month. We have to keep doing it. And we have to connect with other like-minded movements across the country. And we must make America, America again. So at this time and at this place, let us consecrate ourselves to think globally, act locally, and work our asses off to get Bernie Sanders where we need him to be so that we can turn around the atrocities of our time. And we need him to be President of the United States as soon as possible. Thank you.
Berney, Berney. Our county commissioner, folks. You can catch him every Tuesday morning, just a few blocks from here.
Hey, I just want to say, and after that, I'm going to AFSCME, and I'm asking AFSCME, and they will support this county courthouse bond initiative. I'm supporting it because we got already everything I said about living wages, full family health care, carbon footprint, renewable energy, diversity is now a board order for this changed Lane County Board of Commissioners.